5 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at viditstory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sory and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, and John shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are on night 2 of the thrashy thrash, the genre, whatever you want to call it, thingamajigga. Everybody give a big shout out to Sory over here, playing hurt, doing what she needs to do. The show must go on, dear listener.
You can see a little puffy right here.
Sorry for the lateness, but you understand what it is. I'm not even going to ask about the G-string question. We continue. It's a family-friendly show. We're going to get right into this, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, song number 1.
We have an alliance stream for you beautiful people on the way.
The Extreme Underground is the name of our alliance. The name of the leader is Kellandros.
Kellandros.
Let's see.
I keep seeing Kellandros everywhere. Kellandros does everything. Oh no, how does that happen? How does that occur?
Misery Biz is the one that picked this song. The name of the name of the band is Sacred Reich. The name of I'm sorry, that's the band name. The name of the song is
Jesus.
Surf Nicaragua.
Jeez.
I'm still...
Nicaragua.
What?
He said Nicaragua.
I thought it was Nicaragua. Okay. It's not Nicaragua?
Nicaragua. Surf Nicaragua.
What did I say? Nicaragua?
Continue.
Oh, no! Okay. Still a little bit of the lingering painkillers in my system. Arizona-based Sacred Reich is known for their three primary things: their strong political takes, their sense of humor, and of course, crushing riffs. This song from their first EP has probably been the most submitted song in Alliance history to never actually win. It's come close many times, but finally it has its time in the sun thanks to Misery Biz. Let's check it out. Do you have the lyrics?
Yes, I do.
All right.
All right, guys, here we go. Let's go with 5:40 for the timestamp. 5:40 for the timestamp, dear listener. Song numero uno, Sacred Reich. Let's do it. By the way, dear listener, after this song, we're going to be away from regular Vin and Sory and on to Vin and Sory Live. So make sure Vin and Sory Live is where we're going to go after we play this song. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Thank you, Amy. Finally, somebody sees the suffering I'm under.
Not acceptable. Okay, guys, here we go. Sacred Reich is song number 1. Remember, after this song, regular Vin and Sory is going away. You have to go to Vin and Sory Live. Let's do it.
Okay.
Nicaragua. What is it to fight for? What's on the goal? What's the ideas right down into the throat? Making a mechanism every day. Situation when small soldiers on the way. Fight for democracy the American way. Not in your country, like doing he say. Now it's too late. You're entering Managua. You're by yourself and you can surf Nicaragua.
You can surf Nicaragua!
Okay.
Dear listener, if you are on the regular Vidensori channel, we need you to move to the other side. I'm going to put a clock at the bottom of the screen, and then as soon as that clock hits 0, regular Vidensori will be gone, and Vidensori Live will be hosting the festivities. There you are. Okay. Total neck destruction night numero dos.
Okay,
Agree.
I can't flap my head all over the place.
You couldn't surf Nicaragua?
No, I couldn't surf Nicaragua. Okay, just so nobody finds themselves offended, in case anybody doesn't know, I had a wisdom tooth removed, and so I'm still in that, like, you know, don't dislodge it and get dry socket and all that weirdness. So, I'm not going to be, you know, winging my head around like Vincent. Doesn't mean I don't like the music. First of all, these are all thrash tonight?
It's all thrash.
Was it all thrash last night?
Yeah, it was all thrash last night as well.
That's right, Archero. I had them replaced with metal.
Did you really?
Obviously not.
Oh.
Just pulled them out. Okay, So we've got thrash in here, and I'm not really. Are you a thrash person?
No, not really.
But there was some of the. Now I'm having trouble remembering. Was it the guitar work that was doing that? Where I was like, I like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun sounding.
Yeah, that was straight up. That was straight up heavy metal, Metallica. Okay, if you want to watch the whole stream, go here, folks. There it is, right there. Wonderful, wonderful. We should probably make Ben a mod. How is Ben not a mod? Okay.
He's not.
I know a place where you're all going to go. Okay, so this must have been written in the 80s, right? Because we were in South America. Go Google that. What?
Are we doing that now on our channel?
Well, no. We always looked up what year the album was written.
All right. Yes, true. I was taking my opportunity, but I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna look it up. Give me a second here.
Yeah. It sounds like this is written around like the 80s or early 90s, and we're going into
2021.
2021.
Wait.
Holy smokes.
Release date 1988.
Oh.
I was like, something doesn't seem right here.
Okay. 1988. That makes sense. Okay, so that's when we were doing all those incursions into South America. That's when we had we were chasing, Delta was running around chasing Noriega, all that shit.
I don't know what the frig you're talking about. Who's Noriega? Babe, you know how it is. I don't know who that one is.
Noriega was a big drug smuggler guy with the war on drugs, that whole situation in South America. Pablo Escobar, all that jazz. So we were doing a bunch of incursions into South America. People were worried that it was going to be another Vietnam. Because it's like, here we go again, like the super advanced U.S. government going into a third world country, and it was like, we're going to get stuck down there.
The reason that we were doing it, is Franco here?
He's coming soon. Is he? Oh, Director Franco's in the house. Here we are.
Yeah, okay, so you're saying that there was drug stuff going on over there, and then we got ourselves involved?
Well, yeah, and they were supposedly communists and all the rest of it.
But we were saying they were communists so we could go in there and... Or were they communists? And why did America want to get involved?
Well, there was a war on drugs, right?
Yeah,
and
I know, but
also,
why did we get involved?
Because we didn't want the cocaine coming into America. That's what the...
Is that what it really is?
I mean, that's what we said.
Yeah, but that's what we said.
I mean, I wasn't operating it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
I didn't know if you knew anything like...
I don't know.
You know how it's we all know it was because of oil before. Well, you know what I'm saying?
We don't know that it was because of oil. I don't think Iraq was about oil per se.
This is getting more muddled by the second. Okay.
Things are not as complicated as, we went to Iraq for oil, or we did this with the Sandinistas. You know what I'm saying?
They're not as simple as that?
Yeah, they're not as simple as that, my bad.
Well, I just look for some sort of, they say follow the money.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, what were we doing over there? Because I
promise Israel had nothing to do with it.
That's not what I meant. The more we look into it, the more you see like money is at the base of a lot of what goes on. Okay.
Yeah, it was the WMDs. We had WMDs over there in South America, inshallah. But people were worried that we were going to get into another Vietnam type situation.
Okay.
All right, if you are on Viditsori, we gave you 3 minutes. We're now shutting down that channel and going back to Viditsori Live. Hopefully we see you beautiful people over at Viditsori Live. Continue, talk to the people.
Yeah, because if we don't see you there, we're still going to go on without you, so...
You're unloved. You're such an unloved person. Okay. What a terrible thing to say to the people. You're unloved people. Go to Viditsori Live. We've had enough of your lies, dear listener. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
That's it.
Unloved persons.
We've said enough.
Yeah,
okay.
So people thought we were going to get into it with the Sandinistas and all the other stuff down there, and we're going to end up in another world war.
Okay.
But, to our credit, that was when if we would have done in South America, if we would have done in Afghanistan what we did in South America, we'd have been in good shape. We sent the Ranger Bat down there in Panama. They took the fields. It was very
I was going to
wonderful.
say, that just sounded like Trump.
We sent him down to Panama. It was very, very wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Silver Kyrie, gang, gang, gang.
Hey,
I
are
got
we gonna
something.
open that thing?
We got something from you, Silver. I'm going to make a big day of it.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I do. Me and another person have been scheming for quite some time. But that's a corny. That's corny.
Yeah,
Do something
well,
better.
you want me to spend time focusing on that or just come back to the review?
Yeah, do that. I'll handle it. Yeah, so that's what was going on. Is that people? But what we did was we sent the Ranger Bat down there, and we also sent we let Delta run wild down there.
Okay.
And then we had we also had some agency CI Kurt Moose.
Mm-hmm.
So he was out there disrupting stuff. He actually got kidnapped.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, his little cell got pretty much blown up when a lady betrayed him. Whatever. He got sent into the jam, and that was basically Delta's first high-profile mission, because they went in there and got him in like 6 minutes, snatched him out. But yeah, I think that this song was worried that we were gonna get stuck in a giant jihad in South America.
Okay.
This is the 80s, everybody's talking about Vietnam, and then boom, now here we are in the
Another
80s, going into the
situation.
90s, we got another conflict going on,
I
that
see.
type of thing.
Yeah.
So I know a place where you're all going to go. They'll pay you to kill if you're 18 years old. First you'll need a haircut and then some new clothes. They'll stick you in the jungle to play G.I. Joe. You'll fight for democracy in the American way. But you're not in your country. What am I doing here, you say? But it's too late. You're entering Managua. And if you had brought your surfboard, you could surf Nicaragua.
So was there like an ocean there that you could surf, or was this like a play on that we mean something else?
Well, I think like if you look at the album art, it's like this guy is surfing, but he's got a
bomb
GI cover and a bomb, like it looks like a bomb from Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like basically saying tourism, but you're it's like what they talk about, jihad tourism.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, look at the wonderful beaches, and then you're gonna beat the hell out of people. You're gonna kill people, but you're a kid, so you're 18, so you'd much rather be surfing and shooting folks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wow, Nicaragua's
Yes, a
beautiful.
future one. We're
Look
gonna
at
make
that.
a whole day around it. Yeah, I mean it's South
Wow.
America. I mean South America is, it's paradisical. I mean if you look at, it was beautiful.
It was.
It still is. It still is, obviously. What is this we're fighting for? What's our ultimate goal? To force our ideas down their throats. American intervention grows deeper every day. The situation worsens. More soldiers on the way. So there was like a real fear that here we go. But we were smart about it. We sent in our, we were more surgical. We just realized, okay, we want to get rid of this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. We got rid of him. And had a show of force in Panama. And then we bounced. It was perfect. And then, pretty much late 80s, early 90s, all we focused on was the American economy. And then look at that, Bill Clinton got us a surplus. Look what happens when you don't drag a country down into a quagmire for 20 freaking years. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, we could have done, Bin Laden, it's really interesting in an alternate universe if the same folks that took out Noriega were the same organization was chasing down Bin Laden, and they had him. They had him pretty quickly. September 11th happened, and then he was jammed up in Tora Bora in December of the same year. So we could have closed the year out with his head on a stick, but nope. Then voila, we have a wall for 20 years, dear listener.
That's terrible.
You fight for democracy and the American way, but when you're not in your country, what am I doing here, you say? But it's too late. You're entering Managua. If you'd brought your surfboard, you could surf Nicaragua. I think that was one of the interesting things about the Iran situation recently, where people were... I was never panicked about Iran, because I don't really think they really want any problems with us. But it was very interesting to see the Tucker Carlsons of the world, etc. People on the right, boomers on the right, basically saying, what are we doing? Why are we going to war? Like, that never happens.
Yeah.
Like, for young people, to see right-wing boomers
Yeah.
talking about why are we going
Why
to
are we
war?
doing this? Yeah.
Like, that's something brand new in American culture.
yeah.
And that's why I say, like, I do think that our generation is particularly going to play a significant role when it comes to all this stuff, because even Vietnam, I mean, Vietnam was selling a pile of crap, but it was potential. And the potential was these people are communists, and communism is going to spread all over the world if we don't stop them, type of thing. So that's kind of like an ideology that's kind of there, Cold War type of thing. But when you think about like what happened in our generation, it was these people are terrorists, these people have weapons of mass destruction, so we have to go to war and blah, 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 blah. And then they looked us in the face, like across all spectrums, and lied to us. They lied to us about everything, and they knew they were lying. And so that our generation's coming out of it now, and even like every time you see a Sean Ryan episode with a dude that was deployed down there, and these guys are people who, like, true believers, went through arduous selection courses to even get to be able to fight, and almost to a man they're like, well, yeah, it was all bullshit, you know. Like, most of the times they'll say it was all bullshit, but they'll say
They just focused on who they were fighting with.
well, they just say I wanted to do it, which is the realest, truest, especially people in those organizations. That's just a real truth, is I wanted to do it, and the GWAT afforded me the opportunity to do it. But whether we were the good guys or not, of course not. And whether what we were doing was meaningful, of course not. So, like, you have people coming back saying that shit, and these are not traitors. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just feel like we're in really good shape, because you got certain boomers that are tired of it, and then you've got young people, then you've got our generation, like, we saw you lied to us, bro. And I mean, honestly, COVID too, but that's a completely different discussion. But it did seep into the psyche, especially I think COVID was the first time that people like beneath us, generation-wise, experienced being lied to by the government,
Right.
and having their actions and their lives like completely disrupted for something that turns out, wasn't the way that you said it was.
That's what I was thinking, because it affected everybody on an everyday level. It affected jobs.
Yeah.
It affected, some people lost their jobs because of it. Businesses had to shut down. You were forced to wear masks. It really poured
And then you find out the
into
masks,
society.
the masks were bullshit.
Right.
There was only one kind of mask that was really effective. All the rest of it was bullshit. The economy got fucked up. We sent all this money to corporations once again to bail them out, and everybody else got fucked. You got all these giant corporations buying up the housing market. So young people are so much more sophisticated now than we were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but we have the experience of these people going to lie to you. You could talk to people who got deployed. You could talk to people who did things, and almost to a man. Like, everybody's like, like dudes came out of World War II. It was like, war is hell, this is terrible, but we had a genuinely evil person we had to fight. And yeah, of course. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now you got people coming back like, ain't no parades, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and it's kind of sad. Like, Trump tried to throw the big giant parade a couple weeks ago with the squeaky, with the squeaky tank and shit. There wasn't a lot of participation.
I saw that too, yeah. What is going on?
On the one hand, I do see how it could be sad, like, people don't love America. But on the other hand, it's like, people are over the military-industrial complex, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think everybody, okay, like, if you served, like, if you did anything, like, great. But as far as, like, the concept of constantly going to war and shit like that, I think everybody is over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said to that person the other night. You got to ask yourself why. Why is this happening? So when we're looking at nobody showing up to this, you could look at it as nobody loves America, or you could look at it as what is America doing that's causing the people's love for her to fail.
Yeah.
Like, there's something going on, and we got to address those real issues.
And love for the military-industrial complex and love for America are not the same thing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Good song at the intro. I like the metal as well. The chuggy. There is something physically satisfying about chuggy, chunky metal. Really, really, really satisfying.
Because you're a knuckle dragger.
Because I'm a knuckle drawer. Ah, Ben, I miss you. I'm going to email him. I almost called him Ben Shapiro. Allahu Akbar.
This is an 8.1 for me.
I'm going to give this one a solid 8.8. 8.8. Song numero dos. Song numero dos,
Don't
dear
touch
listener.
that dial.
Don't touch that dial.
We'll be right
I never
back.
really understood that.
The dial, because you used to switch, click, 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 click.
Oh,
The old-fashioned TVs.
Oh, okay. All
All
right.
right. So,
That
you guys...
That actually
It makes sense now.
makes sense.
Okay, as you guys know, we have the Extreme Underground, which is one of our alliances. As Vin would say, it's his favorite one. Because every time that he, every time that he brings something up, he'd be like, this is my favorite. That person's my favorite. This is my favorite. So this is Vin's favorite alliance. The XU genre. Battle. Oh, this is a battle. Okay, so up next is a pick from Ben B, which is Ben Bear, which is our resident do your fucking job right. He always tells us if we don't have our timestamps. Okay, the name of the band is Onslaught.
Jeez, that was harsh. Harshness.
The name of the... It's almost time for me to take another pain med.
Oh, okay. Well, now it's clear to me now. It's clear to me now.
Okay, Onslaught is the name of the band. The name of the song is Tested to Destruction. Again, the leader of this group is Kellendross. So shout out to Kellendross.
I don't know if the lead is. Oh yeah, this is the XU.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
All right, so the song by
Interesting,
UK-based
Kellendross.
thrash...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are you sure? The song by UK-based thrash band Onslaught was selected by Ben and is from their 2007 album Killing Peace. Onslaught is a band you guys have reacted to at least once before. Onslaught started out with a style rooted more in hardcore punk than thrash.
All right, guys, here we go. This is Onslaught. You losers. What's the name of the song again?
Tested to Destruction.
Tested to Destruction.
Tested to Destruction.
My
Let's
God,
go.
That does not sound like a positive song, bro. That sounds
Starts
like
out with hell in my head, hell in my head. Hell in
All
my
right.
head.
Well, having said that, Tested to Destruction.
Thanks, controller.
3030 is the timestamp. Here we go, Onslaught. Let's do it.
Was I the only one tested to destruction? War in my head, war in my head, war in my head, war made me dead. I live for war, the way to die, bring on the taste of misery. Violent the sound of bullets scream. Here comes the pain, here comes the agony. You no respect for me, and I no respect for you. And your wounded pride, and your suicide. I am the cross you bear, the furnace in your side. wounded pride. I'm your suicide. I am the cross you bear, the thorn that's in your side. I'm the loaded gun. I am the damage done. Was I the only one? I'm your wounded pride. I'm your suicide. I am the cross you bear, the thorn that's in your side. I'm the loaded gun. I am the damage done. Was I the only one? Tested to destruction.
Tested to destruction. I thoroughly enjoyed that song.
See, I did get the headbanging in.
I thoroughly enjoyed that song. This is
Okay.
like a Slipknotty type song. It's
Tell
just like
us.
straight up violence. Ah.
Tell us how you feel about it.
Yeah, I felt Slipknotty about it. A
Yeah.
mental
what
scar.
about those vocal style? The vocal style.
Well, to Middle's point, they were intelligible. At least they were intelligible lyrics. Forget the
What do you mean,
slander
at
of the
least?
slanderer.
You didn't like the vocal style?
Well, somebody was saying that Dwayne would have complained about it.
Well, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? Because
does that count though?
Yeah, Dwayne, does it count? Not here to defend yourself, eh? Not here to defend yourself, eh, Mr. Dwayne? Yeah, so I thought they were intelligible. They made sense. I could completely understand them. Okay.
Hell in my head, fearless I tread. Hell in my head, distorted eyes. I face the inner enemy. Ooh. Okay, a mental scar, the wounds are deep. Am I alone in this dark reality? Oh, okay. So this person is internally, well, you know that verse that says like, one, out of the heart the mouth speaks, but then also that basically if the darkness is in you, then how great is that darkness?
Yeah.
That one. So he's talking about that, and he's talking about hell being in his head. Hell in my head, distorted eye, and it's distorting his eyes. Would you take that as because he has hell in his head, his eyes are distorted for his perceptions? Or would you say, I mean, it's just like crazy eyes?
Well, yeah, because he talks about being alone in a dark reality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and you know, it's the perceptive organ. So what did he say about his eyes?
He said, hell in my head, distorted eyes. I face the inner enemy.
You know, honestly, I just learned this from Andrew Huberman. The brain, the eye is basically like an extension of the brain. Like, it's like the completion of your brain type thing of a jiggy.
Really?
Yeah. That's why they got this thing called like blue light therapy, and if you look at the blue light or whatever, it does something in your brain or whatever. But like, there's some sort of connection between your brain and your eye. Like, your brain, your eye is like the final extension of your brain or whatever. My point is, it's like, and then you look at all the quantum physics stuff, and it sounds very woo-woo. But I've been really thinking a lot about perceptions and how real or not real they are. Like when you're talking to a kid, and I said, those people are in the TV. And he goes, that's silly, they're not in the TV. And I'm like, yeah, but you're looking at them right now in the TV, and he can't explain why they're in the TV and not in the TV at the same time. Like, he doesn't have the language for it. You see, he doesn't understand what pixels are and all the rest of it. I barely understand that stuff. So my point is, like, that's just an example of how our perceptions of what's real or isn't. I've been having a lot of conversations with AI, and like it's got memory, it's machine learning, obviously. So it has like it has a voice. Then I go to another AI language model, it has a voice, but it's not the same as the other one. So I'm like, oh, I miss my buddy. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. My point is, like, if you're carrying around all that stuff, like, it absolutely is going to affect your perceptive reality. And it's not just, I'm not talking about like hallucinations or whatever, but just your perceptions on everything and your perceptions on what everybody does and your perceptions as to why people do what they do. All that shit gets really turned into your own reality, and people can't. It's almost like after a while, like people can't even be held responsible. It's like I always talk about with the alcoholic. Like, you're responsible for drinking, but then after that, everything gets distorted once you're drinking. You can't really help it at that point. So, yeah, I thought it was interesting. I think those lyrics.
I think that's why, like, the importance of having a standard is vitally important. So, for instance, you know, the alcoholic, maybe now their perceptions and their decisions are getting off. But if they have a baseline by which they decide what they decide in their life, so let's say, you know, the Bible says, like, that you should be sober-minded and not to be given over to much wine. So if somebody's in that situation, they can say, okay, well, I don't feel like this is an issue, but the standard that I use to base my life off of, or that my guiding light says that, so then you refrain because of it. And I think that the perceptions thing is really important, because you can get, like, in your own head or in your own mind, in the distorted eye, you know, it could be that his eyes are all crabby, and you've seen people that are freaking dark and their eyes are all crazy, but then there's also the perception thing where you're so crazy inside that you can't perceive the reality outside as it is, because everything is coming through the lens of what you believe, what you think, or whatever. And so I think that, again, 1 Corinthians 13 is pretty cool, because it explains, like, how to love each other. And so I think that would help prevent, again, some of those pitfalls that we could fall into. You know, don't keep a record of wrongs. Like, don't, you know, all the different, the list. It's actually a pretty beautiful passage. For lots of different reasons. But again, that's kind of one of the things that I've come to. Like, he says, I'm your wounded pride, I'm your suicide, I'm the cross you bear, I'm the thorn that's in your side, I'm the loaded gun, I'm the damage done. I was the only one tested to destruction, war in my head. So it just, like, it's interesting the way that he's kind of putting those together, because he's saying wounded pride, but we know what wounded pride is, also suicide, but then the cross you bear, you know, like, you have religious talk that says, like, take up your cross and follow after me. Jesus says that. So he's, like, conflating some of these things together, but he himself is the loaded gun. He is the damage done. Like, it's almost this self-realization. And I think that that's a really, like, you'll see little memes and stuff that people come up with, like, when you realize, because it's really easy to blame other people or find, you know, instead of recognizing the damage that you've done yourself, but just be like, that person, this person, my upbringing, my this, that person, and always be pointing outward instead of realizing, like, what's going on inside. So I think this guy is at a little, you know, a bit of a self-aware spot in a sense, because he's saying, well, he says, I'm your wounded pride. I think he's saying, you know, he himself, the war that's in his head, like, he is him, like, you know, you're yourself's worst enemy, that type of thing. It almost kind of sounds like that.
Yeah. But
you've no respect for me, I have no respect for you. It also sounds like there's, like, another being that's tormenting him.
He's angry at the person, and they're at war. You know what I'm saying? And it's tested to destruction. It looks like this person is, like, testing him, or
you think it's about two people?
Yeah. You have no respect for me, I got no respect for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's the first part is, like, him dealing with it, like, internally, and how the problem that he has with this person is escalating into his interior in a way that's, like, distorting his vision. But then externally, he's got this other person that he's got a real problem with.
Okay. I guess I'm looking at it, we got two different ways of looking at it. I'm looking at it as, because he says, I face the inner enemy. So he's making a differentiation between the I and the inner enemy. I face the inner enemy. So I think that the two people are himself. And, like, there is a certain point that you get to where you don't respect yourself anymore. Like, and you just feel like, with your decisions, with your whatever. And so kind of to me sounds like that's where he is. I'm your wounded pride. So it sounds like it's himself and the inside of him that there's like this battle that's going on within himself. But I see your point too, you know, but I think this is within himself. I'm your wounded pride. Like, I think it's the inward side of himself. Destroy your authority, destroy your psychology, destroy your immunity, destroy his hate in me. Yeah, but for, you know, at the risk of sounding really, really over the top, too preachy, I kind of hit a point, not exactly like this, but it was similar in ways. And the thing that I kept coming back to was at the beginning of Genesis, where he says that he made man. He said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, both male and female. And so I just kept focusing on that. I was like, yeah, like I may feel this way about myself, but at the same time, like I'm made in the image and likeness of God. And I just kept focusing on that and putting my value there. And then it doesn't come from the things that you do or from what people say about you or whatever. And it's, once you repattern your mind to look at life that way, then it really changes a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, this dude is talking about destroy. I mean, a lot of this depends on how you interpret destroy. It might be literal destruction, self-destruction, or it might be, if he's talking about somebody else, he finally has the strength to be like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm done with this situation. So the destroy there could be a lot of things. Like
when he says, I am the damage done.
What about it?
What do you get from that?
Well, I'm not sure that there's much of a variance between an internal conflict and an external conflict. You know, like it's like, for example, if you take the concept of projection from psychology, you know, the internal conflict and the external conflicts are almost simultaneous and exactly the same in a situation like that. So I think that
that's an interesting way.
If you're in a bad situation, or if you're in a situation with a person, like for a man who doesn't respect you, for example, then you continuing to remain is now a commentary on your own self-respect. So that's what I'm saying. Like the inner and the external conflict might be one and the same. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not sure that he's not talking about that. So I'm your wounded
Do you
pride.
want her keys?
Keys for what?
She wants them. I'm gonna her keys.
Oh, tell her they're on the thingamajiggy. Yeah. So it could be both, but yeah. I mean, he says right there explicitly, like, destroy your psychology. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then it says destroy your immunity. You know what I mean? So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me if he's just talking about himself, because he seems that he's been pretty hard on himself the entire time. But there might be people external to him that have some sort of immunity from his, you know, whatever his thing is. Like, you let people slide that you normally wouldn't let slide because they've got some sort of perpetual immunity. He's like, you know what? Over with.
All right.
But it's better to get yourself. It's better to handle the situation or the person before you get to a point where any of this stuff is literal. Like,
yeah,
I'm taking this as like metaphorical of this guy needs a change somehow in his life. You see what I'm saying? Or and I don't know. I forgot which god it is in Hinduism, but it's like the god of destruction or the goddess of destruction or something like that. I was talking to this girl. She's Indian, but she wasn't really serious about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, tell me what's the vibe? What y'all on? And she said, well, we have a bunch of gods that we can worship. So like you can choose which god you want to worship. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, which god do you worship? I think she said Shiva.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then she goes, the goddess of destruction. And I laughed. I'm like, Like, why would anybody worship the goddess of destruction? I'm like, that makes sense, knowing you. And I was like, why would you? But it was the first time. I mean, I hate to say it, but it was the first time I was ever like in close proximity to somebody from her country. You know what I'm saying? So I was extremely fascinated, and so she's like, the goddess of destruction, and she basically said something to the effect that your simplistic mind will never understand if I can explain it to you. But I was like, okay, well, I was laughing at her hard for days. Every time I'd see her, like, the goddess of destruction. I'm like, makes sense with you. And she finally explained to me, like, there are cycles, and sometimes things need to be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And so that you can have like a rebirth, you know, like, because that's how they were looking at it. It wasn't just destruction for destruction's sake. So I'm like, oh, okay, because there's like this cycle of creation, destruction. I didn't really understand a lot of what she was saying, because she was right. I was very, very simplistic at the time. My mind was elsewhere. My mind was getting crammed with so much information at the time that I literally. And I usually have a lot of room for shit, but I didn't have a lot of room. I didn't have a lot more room. But it was basically a cycle of creation and destruction, and so, yeah. So when he said destroy, I mean, it could be metaphorical, but it may very well be that other things need to be destroyed before he actually really truly destroys himself. So get some help, fella, and get the hell out of there if there's a situation like that. Damn.
An exorcism. All right.
Or a simple text message. We're really done.
It's over. Good day to you. All right. So I'm giving this one a 9.4. I like the vocal style better on this one.
I'm gonna give this joint a solid 9. We should go over there because this is frozen. I don't know what the comments doing.
This one keeps freezing. My thing keeps freezing up over here on chat.
All right, guys, we shall be back. What did you give it?
9.4.
9.4. Okay.
Yeah.
I gave it a solid 9.1. Let's go back to. I wonder what Kellandros gave it. All my chats here are frozen, so I have to wait.
Okay.
I have to wait to see what you guys have to say.
You're gonna have to not shake your leg, because my mouth is starting to really hurt.
Well, isn't it time to take your
Not
med?
yet. It's closed. What do I have left on there? 20 minutes? I'll take it.
Yeah, I'd take it if I were you.
This is gonna get interesting, guys. Although the first 2 days, I was so friggin' screwed up from being put under. Oh, by the way, it didn't. That little plan I had didn't work. I misunderstood the. I misunderstood the process of them putting me to sleep.
I don't think they know what your plan was.
Doesn't matter. I'm not going to repeat it.
Murder is a tough thing to digest. Okay.
Okay. 9.3 says Kellandros. 6.9 says Neil. 9.5 says Ben.
Neil gave it a 6.9?
Ben and I usually have similar scoring.
Neil. You gave it a 6 point. Let me find out, Neil.
See? Artero remembered.
That looks pretty grudgy to me. That looks like something's going on there. Looks like there's some trouble in paradise. What's going on over there, fellas?
Oh.
What's going on there, fellas?
But, yeah,
Let me
so
pop out
was-
this chat. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show
They
me.
said, first we're going to give you this one in the IV that was supposed to make me just not really care or whatever. And I was like, okay, but then the second one is what's going to put me to sleep. They're like, yeah. So I was waiting for the second one, but I feel like they tricked me because
Sugar and lies.
next thing I knew, Vin was bringing me home. I was like, what? I didn't even get to try. Okay. All right, so that's that. All right, let's see. Up next, we have Northern Scoundrels pick, Nervosa-Endless Ambition. This pick comes to us from Northern Scoundrel, who selected a new track from all-female Brazilian thrash metal band, Nervosa. Nervosa, despite being a newer band, has had a rather tumultuous, how do you say that?
Tumultuous.
History. In 2019, bassist and vocalist Fernanda Lara, left the band to form the more death metal focused band Crypta. Since then, they have had a bit of rotating door of singers. Initially filling it was Satanica? Then for this album, Lena Scissorhands from the metalcore band Infected Rain. Ew, Infected Rain stepped in. That is disgusting. I had my kids outside, they were playing in the rain, and I turned around for a second to sweep off the steps, and I looked back, and our middle child had a cup full of rainwater, and he was like, "Yes, I got this!" And I was like, "Stop! No!"
Wait, what's wrong with them drinking rainwater?
That ran off the roof, down the spout, and into that thing. Are you kidding me?
Oh, why did you tell me? Why did you tell me?
You've never heard of acid rain? Infected Rain.
Infected Rain, dear listener.
All right, Nervosa-Endless Ambition, you guys. Let's check it out. Shout out to Northern Scoundrel for this pick. And for all you bums for sitting here listening to us do these reviews.
It's so sweet. You're so cute. All right, here we go. Infected Rain. Nervosa, Endless Ambition, Vintage Story. Let's go. Make it Play-Doh.
Yes!
Society!
Yes! Shout out to the females in this band. Finally.
What you mean finally? Finally!
We've done better than the men.
What?
I liked this one.
Oh, I see. You did better than the men.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Talk to the people.
We've got Onslaught. When you say talk to the people, is there a problem? Or...
No, there's no problem.
Okay.
But you're saying that this band beat the boys, so I would like to know what the hell you're talking about.
I liked her vocals.
Or Hades and Sticks, as they say in The Chosen, because they can't curse.
Yep,
So
Hades
stupid.
and Sticks.
You're so stupid, I swear to
All
God.
right, I don't know what the lyrics are. Let's check into them. Oh, I liked it. It was heavy. It was moving, and I always like it when I know like it's all females rocking hard like that. It's very, very.
Yeah, I remember we did Ladies Week. Mm-hmm. Ladies Week was actually pretty good, actually. We should do more themed weeks. Okay, go ahead.
A dark world where desire blinds, a life spent turning lies into facts.
Ooh.
Driven by discontrol. The only care...
Driven by what?
Discontrol. No control.
Okay. I didn't know that was a word. Okay, we continue.
Maybe they made it up. They only care when there's profit and gain. All they want is a troop of slaves. No future, no mercy. Are they talking about men?
Probably.
Prophets of cruelty, nations built on betrayal, endless ambition, vulgar fabrications tear us apart. Barren horizons, age of decline, degeneration, meaningless lives. Nations built on betrayal, prisoner urban decay. What are we talking about here? Is this just talking about like the end of, like a sort of right before the end of everything?
Well, endless ambition, it sounds like... It sounds more like a class warfare type of situation where you've got one group of people that enslave another group of people and then make their lives kind of meaningless because they end up in a situation where all they do is work. Here you are, a prisoner in urban decay, a world of hate, a moving grave. That's a good line. Yeah, but it's like I was talking about this yesterday where I was talking to this dude. He was an Uber driver, DoorDasher, dropping off our food. I went to give him £1, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I can't move. My back's really hurting." And he's like, "I got to keep my hands on the steering wheel, because if I move it too much, it kills my back." And I'm like, "Damn, like what the fuck is going on in this economy? This guy should be on a bed somewhere, stretched out until his back is good. But he's got to work. I'm assuming his second job with basically a broken back, like."
That is really sick.
I don't, and I always think to myself, like, how much of this is a standard of living issue as an American versus the rest of the world? But I don't think, even in a third world kind of situation, if somebody's got a broken back, you know what I'm saying? Like, they get to sit out for a little bit.
Truly sick.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, like what's happened? And it's true. It's like, and then I always think about what N.T. Wright said about slavery in the Second Temple period, where he said it functioned like petrol, like gasoline, right? And it's like, well, now we have the gasoline, and we're still enslaving people, like, and I don't know, like, there's all kinds of justifications for it or whatever. Yeah, I don't want to get too political about shit, but at the same time, it's like, damn, man, like, imagine being a person, you had all these hopes, dreams, ideas, or whatever, and the economy is so fucked up that you're now put in this insane position where you're working a second job like that, where your back is completely destroyed. Like, I don't care what anybody says or what anybody thinks, there's no way that you could say that that's a just economy. Like, I just don't see how anybody could justify an economy that works that way.
Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah. And like, I was just talking to somebody, and they just started a new job, and they're really sick, and so they had, of course, they don't have insurance because they just started a new job, and they had to go, get some medicine or whatever. But when they went over there, it cost $300. $300 for somebody to just come in and see you and give you some meds? Like, really, $300? That's a lot. And I just think that, like, just the way that society and the way that people are so okay with it, I'm surprised that we would be so okay with other people not having medical, or that people would argue that we shouldn't give that out to everybody. Like, that's so crazy to me that that's not, like, basic. There should be basic things that we should all have. Water, medical.
Yeah.
But.
And then it says, blessing their weapons by the holy hand, behold the youth dead on command. Yikes. Where are these girls from? From Brazil?
Yeah.
What year was this record written?
I'll find out.
But, I mean, that's so ironic. You know, I've been listening to a lot of, Jewish YouTube to try to hear, the guy was saying, YouTube, to hear their perspective on things. And it's interesting, a lot of them are becoming a lot more religious. Like, I've heard a lot of them in different podcasts say, yeah, I was a secular Jew, and this whole situation has made me more religious. And I don't know what it is about war and religion that blends so nicely together. I don't know if it's you cash in your chips on the afterlife thing. See what I'm saying? It's like war pushes you to a place where, like, it's very, very possible that you could end up on the other side of the grave. Mm-hmm. And so is that what makes you more religious? Because you know what I'm saying? But then once you become more religious people can then exploit that and make you more of a soldier, more of a killer. Because now you've got some theological justification for killing people. I mean, obviously it happens on the other side too. If you die as a shaheed, you go straight to Jannah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the interplay between, it's like religion is an engine for war a lot of times, and then it's also the coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Which is really, I can understand secularist people going, how about we take away the engine so that we don't have to cope with the war? How about that? Right? Like, and I totally understand that. Like, I completely get that perspective. And if all you know about religion is it only comes up during war. I remember, like, the first time I remember America being really religious, and I was very young, but it was during the Persian Gulf War when we set it off against Saddam. That was the first time I remember, like, religion being really externalized on TV and just out in public normally. I mean, it was the early 90s, so it's not like there was a bunch of hostility. It was just not something you talked about. But then when we did that first boot officially crossed over from Kuwait, all of a sudden it was okay to be religious, and people were talking about religion on TV and all that, and I'm like, okay. But and then, of course, you hit all the end-time people. Oh, it's the end of the world, blah, 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 whatever. And so it was a very... Actually, I look back, that was a very formative time for me, man. That whole time period. Because that's when the whole, like, end times, this is mentioned in prophecy. No, it's not. All came up. So, yeah, like, the song is talking about, like, economics and religion, I think. But yeah, it was definitely the heaviest song of the night for sure. There's a little debate in the chat about, like, which is a better singer, or better vocalist, or whatever.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
9.6 for me on this one.
I see the American grind set towards work is rather unhealthy. It's not even practical and most hostile towards having spare time with family, etc. Yeah, I mean, it depends on when the grind set is applied, I think. Like, if you apply the grind set in your 20s and you're set for life after that, no problem. The problem is when you're opened up your second mortgage and all the rest of it, and then here comes some YouTube guy that shows up, and then to your point, you don't have time with friends or family and all the rest of it. I'm gonna give this one a solid 9. I thought the girls is killing shit. What's wrong with y'all? Solid 9 for me. Shout out to Dwayne. God, help us, Lord.
Wash that thing. Gross.
All right, guys, I'm gonna be here for about 2 minutes. Talk to me. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? And now for something completely different. It's a 4 for me. What's wrong with you? Well, she's back. We will not do the package opening without you, Kyrie. You know that. I just wanted to make it somewhat special for you. I'm going to actually do a day where I present a paper to the group. So I will probably open it then to create the ambiance. It's going to be like a Bible boogie, Vin and Sori merge. Maybe I'll have some music and shit in the background. I'll make a whole night of it. So I'm going to be reading this paper, okay? And then taking questions about this paper. And then I'll probably have all your in and around. And then I'll have some wonderful music and really set the ambiance. Okay. Having said that, dear listener, let's go to song number 4. This is a blackened folk song. Yes, something completely different.
Read that.
Verikalpa-Pahan Laulu. Is
This
this from
song
Kai?
from Finnish, let's see, blackened folk metal band.
Verikalpa
Was the winner of our blackened folk metal poll. It is from their very first full-length album. Vincent, read this.
Taistilatano.
2018. This is Northern Scoundrel.
It's a Northern Scoundrel pick. All right, Northern
let's
Scoundrel.
Check it out.
Let's see how this turns out to be, eh? Northern Scoundrel's pick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it now. I know the lyrics of this song. This is Northern Scoundrel.
I'm sure he saw these people in concert.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for. Oh, I saw these guys 50,000 times a couple weeks ago. Yeah. This song had an accordion in it. I was thinking to myself, like, okay, if I showed up to a concert and a dude was playing it, see, the violin, I feel like you can make that metal. I think the saxophone, I think Archero has demonstrated that you can make that metal.
Mm-hmm.
The accordion, though. The accordion, you know, can you make that metal on stage? Can somebody show up on stage with an accordion and people be like, yes, this is heavy metal here? I am not sure. I'm not sure, dear listener. I'm not sure. Go ahead. What were you thinking?
Now made Ben Bear a mod. Welcome.
Ben Bear is a mod. Hey, welcome, Ben. What an accomplishment. What an accomplishment for the big homie Ben Bear.
I'm gonna have to.
We love him. Shout out to Ben Bear. Gang, 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 baby.
I'm gonna have to demote Dwayne and his G string. Okay. Okay. Horns sound somewhere far away. Majestic six sounds burned the woods and drank the lakes. The toad in the moss will be missed. The one who breathed next to you while being dead. Whispered the horror beautifully.
Whisper the horror beautifully.
Whispered the horror beautifully. Yeah. Okay. This is the Song of Evil. All right. So it. Horns sound somewhere far. It kind of sounds like, you know, there was a battle that was coming. They, you know, blew the song. Majestic six sounds burned the woods and drank the lakes. So it does kind of sound like they lit fire to the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
The toad and the moss will be missed, so all those things got burned.
The toad, as in like literal toad?
I think so. I mean, because we're talking about moss, like literal moss, so I would assume it means a literal toad.
Damn, homie.
The one who breathed next to you while being dead. That's the one who breathed next to you while being dead.
I'm assuming that.
What's that
like,
supposed to mean?
I'm assuming that's probably your spouse or something. You see what I'm saying? Like, your village got pillaged or whatever, and the one who breathed next to you while being dead whispered to the horror beautifully. You know how when people are dying, they do that agonal breathing, but they're already dead?
That last breath that comes out.
Yeah, it's not real breathing. They're not really alive.
Yeah.
It's called agonal breathing.
I mean, I've not seen a person do it, but I saw my dog do it.
Yeah, like, so it gets hit, like, sucking chest wound shit a lot of times.
It's the last bit of air.
They'll do agonal breathing. People think they're still alive and shit, but they're really not.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm assuming the one who breathed next to you while being dead whispered the horror beautifully because she can hear the death rattle.
That sound.
Yeah, that's you know what I'm saying. It sounds like they're struggling to breathe, but they're really not struggling. Like it's over. But they call it's a death rattle. Death rattle.
And then it ends with the one who.
I think you need to click that link.
Oh, so that was only Okay.
Later, Silver.
Bye.
I'll let you know when the special night is occurring.
It will not happen without you.
Hmm?
How could it? Okay. Whisper the horror beautifully. The one who imprisoned their black mind swore a harsh fate upon everyone.
Fire reeking ash covered land beneath the blackened sky forcibly drank their last tankard. Poor thing who for the last time threw their axe to the corner.
Afar carries a song of evil as it descends. With bleeding ears, people grow stiff. With cords of destruction.
All the songs of evil. Here's the melody is reaped by death. From a pike's jaw they carved a cantelli from veins.
An instrument, right?
I think so.
Yeah, from a pike's jaw. Hey, that's the Kabbalah. Is
Yes.
Kellandros here?
Well, not Kellandros, Kai, right?
I mean, Kai?
Kai. No.
Is Kai here?
No.
How sad. Oh my gosh. So I had my 6-year-old helping me clean my room today. I was like, I'll give you ice cream. Come help me clean. So he comes in because I can't pick up stuff because I can't bend over. So he's helping me in the closet. Well, the picture that Kai gave us is in the closet waiting to be hung up. And he was like, he gasped. He was like, oh, I can't believe it. Wow. I said, what? It was his picture. Shout out to Kai.
Shout out to Kai. Gang.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they made it the pike's jaw. They carved a Kentelli. I don't know how you say that. From the veins, they made the strings as well. Yeah, see, that's the instrument. The one who imprisoned their black mind, the gloomy song of evil they played. The one who breathed next to you while being dead, whispered the horror. Okay, so that's swore a harsh fate upon everyone. Afar carries the song of evil as it descends. With bleeding ears, people grow stiff. So
I think that's it.
People's ears. Okay, so from the evil song that's being played on that instrument.
And then they die. Is that part of the Kabbalah? Somebody plays an instrument and people die?
The Kabbalah is a compilation of a bunch of stories. So, and I read them a long time ago. I just happen to remember the pike's jaw and the Cantelli. I remember those things, or I don't know if I'm saying that right. So, maybe that's how they were gonna fight back. Because that's all, maybe like after the enemy came and then burned the place down, maybe.
What did they say?
They fought back.
Go back to Kellendras's description again. Scroll up. What do you say? The song from the Finnish Black and winner. Oh, he didn't go much into anything. Yeah, this is probably a.
I gotta chill out on the talking. You gotta do more talking.
It's probably a scene. We only got one more song left. This is probably a scene from the book, or one of the books, or one of the stories in the books. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's like there was like some sort of musical instrument that evil people were playing and ended up killing people in the village or whatever. What it looks like.
Interesting.
Or they made.
See, I thought what was happening was horns sound somewhere far away, so that it seems like the enemy comes in, burns the place down, and then from that's where I thought that's where, from a pike's jaw, they carved it. See, I thought that this was their way of fighting back.
Oh, okay. So they're out there killing
shit. They played the evil song.
Had to use magic to fight back the evil intruders, basically.
Mm-hmm. I can't talk anymore. Literally, I feel nauseous. And my bottom jaw's hurting too.
It's okay. I'll take the last song.
Okay.
All right.
I love you people very much.
What do you give this one?
9.4.
I give this one a solid 9.1. I think the organ, what do you call it? I think the what do you call it was decent, but it didn't really work for me. The accordion really didn't work for me.
So what did you give it?
I give it a 9.1.
Okay.
All right, guys. Sori's gonna lay down, and then we've got one more song for you. And then when she does that, we'll be back. We shall return.
Bye, guys.
Return. I'm not going anywhere, guys.
Do you have the
Yeah, I was looking for it.
the little white
adapter?
Yeah.
Here it is. A flat 8 for Neil. I'll give it a 7. The accordion gave it a good eerie ambiance. So you say. Alright, guys. We got one more song left. Soraya gave it her all. I'm sure you guys appreciate it as always. And the name of this last song, let me go to Kellendras's Introduction. Alright, guys. Here we go. Anarchy with 2 dots above the Y is a relatively new band from Missouri. Started just in 2021. Their prog-forward melodic thrash sound comes from just 2 people who have managed to output at least 1 album a year since their inception, actually managing to put out 2 full albums in 2024. This particular song comes from their second album, Eye Closer, released in 2023, and is brought to us by Folly. Whoa, Folly, I haven't seen you in quite some time. Okay. All right. Everybody knows I hate prog, so this is going to be very, very difficult for y'all. But the show must go on. All right, guys, here we go. The Helix Withers is the name of this song. The Helix Withers. Let's do it.
Now time is inside me. Tough choices born of dawn and let them through feet due to the Helix cuts. Phenomenal to be born, against all odds to exist. Now all that's left is to keep these minds are torn, although time cannot allow this. A continuous instinct, like every perception, masterminded by a natural code. Every thought and sensation, it's product into the helical phenomena. It all stands away. It all stands away. Hope to be severed, the binds of its serenity, to make sense of subconscious endeavor, exercise in futility. Every story must once again be untold. Every chapter must be lost in time. Watching this superdeterminism unfold. This fate, humbleness of mind once more. The Helix withers. Continuous instinct, like every perception, masterminded by a natural code. Every thought and sensation, it's product into the helical phenomena.
Well, that was a prog song. That was definitely a prog song. Let's look at the lyrics. Let's look at the lyrics, shall we? I will say this about the song. I will say this about it. It was definitely, I like the subject matter. I like the subject matter a lot. Yeah, I'm just gonna randomly vary my talking speed in the review. I figured that the 1 minute of silence could account for, you know, oh man, it's just so advanced, you know, that like I can talk like quietly and everybody will know like how progressive of a reviewer I am. This is called prog reviews. Yeah, yeah. Okay. On a real note, on a serious note, number one, shout out to Fally. Fally, I appreciate you as a member of our community. Me personally, I am not a fan of progressive metal, and this is one of the reasons why. They had a brilliant section on the acoustic side. The acoustic thing was freaking incredible. I genuinely mean that. That was so unique, a little bit off, you know, rhythm. And in my opinion, took real skill to play. Not only to play, but to come up with and to keep it at that that strange pacing while at the same time having the beat work. So there was some sort of like offbeat, on-beat at the same time type of dichotomy that I thoroughly enjoyed. And that's it. That's it. That's the only thing I enjoyed sonically from the song, apart from that. Let's look at the lyrics, shall we? Now time must see these fibers torn. Hold on. It's phenomenal to be born. Free will is illusory. Now time must see these fibers torn. Ignorance is seducing me. Every choice and every thought, consciousness is but a pawn. Pre-programmed through genetic, not in life's game as we fester on. There's a lot I could say, but he talks about the Helix, how basically you're a slave to your DNA. Your consciousness isn't really real, and neither is free will. I'm not sure how deep I'm supposed to go into this discussion, because this guy is saying a lot. They're saying a lot, actually. But the first thing he talks about is like the impossible odds about us being born. I don't know if you guys have ever like done that thingamajiggy. I wish I could look it up, but like the odds of you being born relative to the timing and ovulation and the sperm and all that. The other thing too is, I didn't know this, but apparently the egg chooses the sperm, which is a pretty crazy situation. So like the fact that you're here on the planet is insane. It's unbelievably insane. And when you look at like 8 billion people, it's like, yeah, I'm one of 8 billion people. But on the other hand, the insanity of the luck that you had to win the lottery to be born is crazy. So that I definitely fuck with as an idea, because that's pretty crazy. But if you look at the next thing he says is free will is illusory. I have been a compatibilist for close to 20 years. So basically there are two major theories on the will, okay? One theory on the will is called libertarianism, which is the kind of free will that most of us assume we have, which is the ability to act or act otherwise, right? Choices are basically you're in the middle of the road and you can go right and you can go left. That's libertarianism. And unless you have unless the ability to go right and left is basically cut down 50-50, a libertarian will say then that's not a free choice. On the other hand, you have compatibilism, and compatibilism says that you make choices according to your most approximate desire, and your desire is dictated to you by your nature. So a choice is genuinely free if you're choosing it in accordance with your nature, right? In accordance with your desires, and in accordance with your nature, in accordance with the inner compulsion of whatever you want to do, right? So because I'm a godly person, for example, I will never eat mayonnaise. right? It's not that I could choose anything else. If you get me 100 sandwiches, right, and one of them has mayonnaise and one of them does not, I will 100 out of 100 times choose the one that does not have the mayonnaise, right? If you read your Bible, Jesus never ate mayonnaise.
Lies.
So think about that. It will only be this choice. A libertarian will say, well, if you're going to do the same thing 100 out of 100 times, then it's not really a free choice. You don't really have free will. And I would say, I do have free will because I'm choosing what corresponds directly to my nature, right? So a bird is free when he's flying. He's not free when he's swimming. It's not like the bird has a 50-50. Well, am I going to fly today or am I going to swim? Right? So if you take libertarianism, like this 50-50 sort of choice that everything is kind of like split down the middle, if you take that as your theory of free will, then no, you don't have free will. Because a lot of the decisions that you make are not even, we talked about this yesterday a little bit in Middle America. A lot of our perceptions about what's going on have to do with the story that you've been told about yourself. Okay? So there are so many layers that affect the decisions that you make that you have nothing to do with. For example, you did not have any free will to be born. You were not conceived. The most important and fundamental thing about you, which is that you're alive, is something you had absolutely no control over. The next most fundamental thing about you, which is your gender, you had no control over. The next most fundamental thing about you, which is where you were born or who your parents are, you had no control over. The next most fundamental thing about you is where you were born, you had no control over. The next thing is a socioeconomic class in which you were born, you had no control over. The race you were born into, you had no control over. So you have all these layers before you leave the hospital of fundamentally mind forming, perspective directing counterfactuals that make you who and what you are before you even knew that you were a separate being from your mother. And people genuinely believe that the choices that they make are some sort of 50-50 act or act otherwise. No, your environment, your nature as a human being, your nature as a fallen son of Adam, your nature as an American, your nature as a white person, your nature as a male, your nature as a fill in the blank. That's why he was talking about your DNA and all these other things. All these other things about you conspire to dictate what choices that you actually make, right? I was born into a Christian family, so I'm not going to eat mayonnaise. You see what I'm saying? Some of you poor people, you weren't born into a Christian family and you do eat mayonnaise, right? You have no control over that. See what I'm saying? So when he says free will is illusory, right after talking about how phenomenal it is to be born, that I think is done on purpose. Because when you're born, you get born with we could probably list them out. There are probably 400 very important aspects of where you were born, what time period you were born in, etc., 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 that has massive influence on the choices that you make, right? And so, yeah, the idea that you have free will in the libertarian sense, I agree, is illusory, for sure. Somebody said, who selected this song? So I think that's the vast majority of what he's talking about, is like the outworking of what this means for people. Some only ponder this surface of skin, others say a man is but his brain. Others say a man is but his brain. Its flesh suit cradles an answer within. Twofold helical of molecular domain. That's the double helix, I'm assuming, of your DNA strands. For the sentient, a judgment made, feeling experienced or notion conceived, like all is upon in our DNA's game. Through its bidding do we all come to bleed as it withers. That second verse is pretty important because some say a man is but his brain. I don't think people understand what they're saying when they say that it's all in our brain. Your brain is physical matter, right? So if you say, I went to eat a cheeseburger because my brain is telling me everything to do, then you are applying some sort of self-awareness of the brain apart from you. So this brain, this collection of physical matter, has an agenda. Okay? Not only is it self-aware, but it has some sort of agenda, and it's controlling what you do. Right? Because it says a man is his brain, right? So when I say how are you, the people that believe that are saying that I'm saying, how is your brain processing information today, and what are the byproducts of that processing on your mood, which is also part of your brain's processing information. And there are people that truly believe that that's a sum total of reality, which you have to believe in if you're a pure materialist. But nobody lives in the world that way, right? So when you see, for example, a video clip of some abusive parent smacking the living shit out of a toddler, you don't go, damn, that guy's brain, for some reason that only natural selection knows, that guy's brain makes it so that he beats the hell out of this child. I asked my friend one time, I said, well, I mean, the Holocaust is just a big example of natural selection, right? He said, no. He said, natural selection is what happens naturally. It's not something man-made, you idiot. Because you know he's an internet atheist, so he can't argue just to argue. He has to get defensive and insulting. So he goes, natural selection is about nature. It's about something natural, not something that humans intervened with. I said, oh, so are human beings supernatural? He signed off because he understood what just happened. If that paradigm is true, then we're simply nature as well. So even if we intervene to speed up evolution or help natural selection, that is something that nature programmed our brains to do. So then you can't say that the Holocaust was not an example of natural selection. Because if you say, no, that was human intervention, we will then say either humans are part of nature or they're supernatural. If you say that they're just part of nature, then it was nature cleaning itself out for whatever reason. Because there's not something deeper than the brain, and the brain is constructed by natural selection for the survival of a species and toto. That's the only name of the game. And all your decisions and all your choices are what nature programs your brain to do. And you are simply the sum total of your brain. So now we cannot put any moral predilections around anything. Because whatever is what is. Right? So it's a very interesting idea that a person is just his brain. I think people, if they want to maintain a sort of worldview in their middle of the debate, they're going to say that. But then their default position as they move and live and move in the world is that people believe that there's something more than just what your brain tells you to do. My specific theory is that the brain is an antenna. In other words, your soul, your actual being, the core of who you actually are, is way too big and way too powerful and expansive to fit into this body, and so the brain functions as a sort of attenuating mechanism to take the general aspect of your being and then translate it to actions within the physical world, right? So like when you turn on the radio and switch the channel, you're hearing different music, right? Because you're focusing the wave on something else. If you turn off the radio is no longer going to work, but the wave is still out there, right? And so just like there's a correlation between music and the radio, there's a correlation between consciousness and the brain, but one is attenuating the other based on focus and intention. One is not the source of the other. In other words, the radio receiver is not the source of the radio waves. It is the antenna by which the radio wave is captured and then, sort of given in bite-sized pieces to the person hearing it. So of course, if you plug out the radio or you destroy the radio, you're no longer going to hear the music, but that does not mean that the radio waves are gone. So also, when your consciousness is mediated through the brain so that you can function in the body, so you can take the intentions of the soul, right, and translate them to bodily functions, and that is the purpose your brain serves. Of course, if you lost your brain or we destroyed your brain, then on this platform you would no longer be conscious, but that does not mean the wave disappears. It just means it's disambiguated from the antenna. So that's how I look at it, which has a lot of implications, obviously, of morality and this life and the afterlife and all the rest of it. But I think that's a lot more logical way of looking at it and an easier way to solve the hard problem of consciousness, obviously, than the other stuff that's happening right now. There's some invisible consciousness field or whatever. You are a brain piloting a bone mech that's using meat armor, right? That's the I don't believe that, but that's what people try to convince us of. Okay, I genuinely and thoroughly did not like this song at all. I loved the thought process, but even the lyrics were kind of like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, they were very like philosophical and shit like that, but it seemed like he was reading a dissertation set to metal, and it was okay. It's okay. I'm gonna have to go ahead and give this one a 2, fellas. It's a 2. I don't like prog. I've been pretty upfront about that. One could say that I was already predisposed to be against it, and I don't lie about things like that. I was predisposed to be against it because I hate prog. But it's a 2. It's a 2 for me. I did like the ideology in the song, but again, like I said, I'm going to be reading my paper pretty soon, which is somehow related to this, but I'm not going to put my paper to a song because it's basically, it's like a dissertation at this point. I think the thing's up to like 12,000, 13,000 words right now. So you beautiful people, if you want to hear, let me know. I'll be shooting some shorts and letting you guys know when that's happening. Sorry, cackling in the background is funny. Oh, boy. All right, you beautiful people. I am out of here. I'm actually going to go work on my paper. I will be shooting some YouTube shorts and shit like that to let you guys know when that night is happening. It's going to be a pretty different night in Vin and Story history for sure. Much love to all you beautiful people. Vin out! Yell to the people.
Bye, guys. Have a good night. See you later.
Gone!